What's up, everybody? Nelson.
What up, KD?
What's up with you, my man? What's up with you? Thank you so much for stepping in for us. Once again, of course, you saved the day for me. And I appreciate you so much. I'm not sure if we have anyone on yet, but if we do, I just want to greet everyone, tell you hello, not to worry. Lady KC will be in the house tonight, but we have stepping in for her, the one, the only, Nelson Shackman Curry. And y'all know what a time we had last week. So tonight is going to be an even greater time because Nelson brought in some company that you will later find out in just a few minutes on who that company is. Now, Nelson, just keeping in order of what Lady Casey like to do, we will open up with a prayer because with everything going on today, we need to begin with a prayer first and foremost.
Amen.
So, all that's in the audience, I ask you to just bow your heads. Lord Jesus, I come to you thanking you for getting us to the moment that we are at today. You know the hassles that everyone has been through all of this week and through the past week. You know all that we will all go through. But Lord, you created each and everything that we go through, and you created us to be the type of humans, the type of soldiers that can get through any and everything. The only thing that I ask is that you give us the knowledge and the peace to get through any and all obstacles that get into our way. And with that being said, I'm going to say amen. And let's get ready to have a great show tonight. Nelson, what you been up to this week?
You know what? I've been up to a lot of writing,
Oh,
putting the show together and stuff like that. I got a show that comes on every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on WVKX, Love
okay.
103.7. And
Uh-huh.
it's a Southern Soul show. I try to play a lot of the new Southern Soul stuff that's just coming
Right.
out, kind of give the new cats a shot of getting that radio play. It's not just an internet show, it's a real radio show.
All
And
right. And
you
that's
gotta
every
have it
Saturday?
every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
And that's the
Love.
G75 app?
What's that now?
Is that the G75 app?
The G75 app? Oh, I
Uh-huh.
don't know. You got me on that one, Karen. What is it?
Oh, okay.
What's the
Okay.
G75 app?
Well, that's what Karen said hers is on. So that's what I thought
Oh,
it was.
well, whatever she said, that's it.
All right. Well,
Hey,
you
look,
heard from the man
I turned
himself.
the microphone. I turned the microphone and the music on and start talking.
I heard that. I heard that. Well, I'm going to go on with my Ponder Punch question for the night because I have to do my Ponder Punch question. And tonight, Nelson, I want to know from you and all of the other guests and the audience members,
Yeah.
if you could have a conversation with any past loved one, who would it be? And why do you choose that person? Now, we call it Ponder Punch because we're going to come back at the end of the show. So it gives you time to ponder on it. If you could have a conversation with any passed on loved one, who would that person be and why? So ponder on that a little bit as I pass the mic. Well, you know what? I'm going to pass the mic on to Nelson. But you know what, Nelson? We
Yeah.
got to do the sip of the night.
Okay.
Karen's not here, but we got to do the sip of the night. You see it with Lady KC, but it's
Uh-huh.
going to be with Lady Karen D tonight. And my sip of the night tonight, I have some infused water that's
Damn.
been infusing with pears. I still got the mason jar, my friend.
Oh, I thought those were pickles.
No, they are
Okay.
pears. I just cut them just into little squares because I'm gonna eat the pears when I finish. But
Okay.
they have been infusing all evening long. And when I tell you that it is mm, delicious, it is delicious.
You
Now
say
you
you
don't
got it.
have
You got it in
infused
water. Or
water.
you got it in moonshine.
It's water. It's water. I just used the jar in honor of you, but it is indeed water. Good, clean, refreshing water. Just stand in, what Karen stick to, and
Uh-huh.
I love water. So
Okay.
it's just some pear infused water. Like I
Yeah.
said, y'all have your drink of choice. It doesn't matter, but just stay hydrated with something. So if you have a little alcohol, that's okay, but make sure you put a little bit more H2O just to hydrate yourself and just
Right.
to stay healthy. That's
Well,
all that I ask.
I'm all about the health drink myself, Karen. I mean, I drink healthy too. I drink grape juice.
Oh, okay. There you go, right there. There you go, right there. So
Yeah.
Nelson is keeping it cool with some grape juice, and I'm keeping it cool with my pear infused water. So
Now,
hey,
now, now these grapes have been fermenting for a while, but I mean, it's still grapes.
uh now, hello, Ebony. Ebony is saying hello, KD and Nelson. We have Raymond right on there. What's up, Raymond?
What's up?
But
What's up, Ebony?
I am so glad to see our Ebony in the house because we do keep Ebony is a part of the show. For those of you who do not know, she's my bestie and she is a big part of the show.
Hmm.
So with that being said, I'm gonna pass the torch over to Nelson because we have a special guest that I cannot wait for everyone to get to meet and to greet. If you do not know him already, which I can't see why you don't, but if you don't, you're gonna find out tonight who he is. And Nelson, I'm gonna pass the torch to you.
Okay. Well, hey, listen. When you asked me to sit in for Karen, the other Karen,
Uh-huh.
I said, okay, cool. She said, well, we need a we just need a, can you got an idea for a guest or somebody we can bring on? I said, you know what? I said, I got a friend of mine that's all in the music game, all in the movie game. I said, let's bring him on. Let's bring him on and let the folks hear what he's got to say and what, his journey, because it's a pretty interesting journey, and I think people can learn a lot from hearing some of the stuff he has to say.
All right. Well,
Without further ado, we call him Tony Mercedes. Simple as that.
all right. Ah, and there he is,
There he is.
Mr.
What's going on, Nelson?
So
Mercedes.
what's up, boss man?
Can you guys see me? Am I okay?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We can see you.
All right.
I want to thank you for gracing us to come on the stage of Karen2Karen, first and foremost. I had to do my research when Nelson told me about you. I knew of you, but when I did my reading, I didn't realize you were such a heavy hitter there. You know what I'm saying? So, first of all, gracious, gracious, gracious to you. And I noticed that you and your wife are doing a transition into TV and film.
Yeah, we after leaving Atlanta in I think 2004, I want to say, um,
Mhm.
I decided to make the transition from radio and records to film and TV. I had kind of pretty much won every award that I could win in music and kind of seen everything that I think I could have seen in terms of from a career perspective. So I decided to just take a leap and kind of walk by faith and not by sight. You know what I mean? So I kind of went over and, just let God lead me in the path that He would want me to go. And, here I am. We still standing strong. Just finished a major motion picture starring Cuba Gooding Jr. called Athena Save Christmas. That's going to be coming out either this Christmas or in 2024, depending on how the strike affects us. But, overall, um, it's been an interesting ride. I've been blessed, and I feel really good about how the future looks for us.
Well, that was going to be my next question before Nelson get to you was with the strike that is going on, do you foresee that as being a problem with your transition at all?
Well, not really, because I'm an independent filmmaker, and fortunately for me, and unfortunately for them, the longer the strike stays in place, the more valuable my piece of real estate becomes. Because I have an Oscar-winning, Academy Award-winning actor that's starring in my film, and content is still king. So if they're not able to make content, then those who have content, their real estate becomes more valuable. So it's a blessing and a curse. I mean, I hate to see people out of work, and I hate to see people's lives interrupted. Um, but at the same token, we put a lot of our money into this project. We self-financed the whole film, and if we get blessed by default, then I'm gonna take that blessing, because God is still in the blessing business. However He blesses you, so
That's right.
Well, I can totally relate to that. I myself am into film and TV, and I am independent. And I am with this film company. We just went into a post production of The Fallen, and just like you, it's independent. So for us, it's not um, it's not really having an impact. It's just the waiting game of them running out of all of the films that they have. When they have no more, then they're gonna have to come for the independent artists and the independent filmmakers. So, like you, I don't want to see anyone out of work, but by the same token, it may be a blessing in disguise for me. So,
and,
um,
as long as you don't, I mean, you do a quality piece of work. I mean, like, I never work down to $1. I always work up to a standard. So it's very important that I use the right camera equipment. I mean, for my film, I used a $300,000 camera package. So we shot it. We went big boy. We didn't go, let's use a red, or let's use a black magic, or this or that. No, we went with the Arri Alexa, the Arri, and with the lens package that is, you could it's more expensive than some houses that you find in Augusta. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
So, because I wanted to make sure that first impression to me is all, you only have one time to impress somebody. So they may say, hey man, I hate that film, but they can't negate the fact that the quality is at a level that is comparable to everything that you would see out in theaters now.
You
and
know
that's
what?
exactly what we
But
did.
you know what? That's one thing I give you props for. Now, even if it's a situation you don't necessarily understand or came from, you will find the best stuff to use, the best people to use, and put a product together that's quality. That's the whole thing. I mean, and then thinking about that, that's why I just want to go back and just kind of for people who may not know who you are, may not know why you're even talking about this and where it all started from. I just like people to know, okay, how did you get going? Period. How did this whole music thing start? So when somebody sitting out there don't know anything's going on, or maybe contemplating about jumping into something like this, what made you move? Because what you did really was finance the dreams of somebody else.
Well,
Because you're not a singer, you're not a dancer, you're not a musician, but you saw something that you want to get behind, and what made you make that jump?
well, one of the things, Nelson, that I take pride in is, I never invest in projects. I invest in people.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw something in these two guys, and you know, I put the money in. I went to the studio, and you were one of the people on the production team at that time.
Right.
But I ran into a million obstacles. I got told no from every record company from in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to Sony, Universal, Aris, everybody. Everybody said no.
Mm-hmm.
And then my last ditch effort, I went to two things. I went to a convention called Jack the Rapper.
Mm-hmm.
It was a music conference that you can compare to South by
Right.
Southwest. And they had a room called Tracking of the New Stars. Now it took me a minute to get in because I didn't have $335 to register.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a door. I found a door in a hotel that was unmanned. I got in, and I got into that room, and there was a table. I'll never forget it, with a whole bunch of CDs with rubber bands and sticky notes on them. And I asked the lady, could I can I sign up and have them play my record, which is Daisy Dukes, which is the record that we did.
Right. Yeah.
And she said, "No, I'm sorry that submissions are closed." And me being the type of dude I am, I'm like, okay. So I walked over to the table, carefully pulled one of the CDs off the table, carefully took their CD out, threw it in the trash, and carefully put Daisy Dukes inside there.
Look, I remember that. I
Oh my
remember.
God.
I remember. Yeah.
And then when they played the record, I'll never forget. They said, "Hey, whose record is this?" So I put my hand up, and I'm thinking, I'm about to get my flowers. You know what I mean? Because they hear the smash. And I'll never forget. The lady said, "Well, why don't you stand up?" So I stood up, and she said, "Well, these are the records that we tell people not to make. The record's a regional record. It'll never leave the state of Florida." Now, mind you, I had never even been in Florida before that day. And she said, you know, as when you start thinking about records and releasing records, you got to think more national. This is a regional record, so the young man needs to go back to the drawing board, rethink his position, blah blah blah. Now, at that point, I'm supposed to put my tail between my legs and say, you know what, maybe there's 6 experts on this panel. So I mean, they got all these accolades and this and that, and they did this and they did that. So if they're telling me my record is not the move, then maybe I should listen. But I'm hard headed, And one thing that they didn't realize is when I put that cassette or that CD in that CD player at Club Mercedes, which was a teen club that I managed and I owned, and they didn't see the kids run to the dance floor whenever I put that record on.
Right.
And I think kids in Augusta, Georgia, are the same kids that are in Savannah, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Macon, Georgia, and everything else. Them kids are the same. There's no difference in the kids.
Right.
So, I took one last shot, and I sat down with the Godfather of Soul, Mr. James Brown. And I said, "Mr. Brown, I'm thinking about starting my own record company. Any advice you can give me?" And he said, "Son," he said, "you can forget that, son. They ain't gonna let no Negro have no record company. You can get it. I'll never forget it." So at that point, okay, I'm shot down by every record company, embarrassed to Jack the Rapper, the Godfather of Soul just kicked me in the nuts. What else can happen? What else can really happen? And I remember saying, you know what, screw it. I told them boys to meet me down at the Radisson Hotel. I took a picture with one of them throwaway cameras of them sitting on the steps, and that was the album cover for the first Daisy Dukes. And I borrowed $1,500 from my dad. My ex-wife gave me $800, and from that, I built a career and a lifestyle that only few people dream about.
Wow.
And we were able to do so many interesting things. And I'll tell you something, that record, there's a historical value to that record, not the record itself, but the effort that went into it. Because if I don't do Daisy Dukes, then you'll never hear a song called Whoop, There It Is. You'll never hear a song called Splackavelli. You'll never hear a song called That's Just My Baby Daddy. You'll never hear TLC will never do No Scrubs. Ed Sheeran will never make a song called Shape of You, which has over 6 billion views on YouTube. Those records not exist. You're talking about 125 million records across the board that we would have never heard had that Daisy Duke record not been successful, had I not done it.
Yeah.
And the history of music as we know it today would be different, because between TLC and Ed Sheeran, those are two of the biggest iconic pop records in the history of music.
So why do you think after all that, like when they do the 50th anniversary of hip hop and rap and shit like that, why do you think Tony Mercedes is not mentioned in that category?
Because I chose to take the path of just staying humble. I didn't do the I need a security guard. I didn't pop the champagne. I didn't do elaborate parties. I didn't buy Rolls Royces. I just kind of kept my head down and kept a low profile. It's really funny because somebody mentioned to me, I don't know, about 4 months ago, and said, "Hey, man, I went to your Instagram, man. You only got 3,000 followers, and you're not even verified." I said, "Nah, you know what? You're right, but guess where I am verified at? Bank of America. Go over there, verified over there." You know,
All
so,
right.
All
you
the
know,
check, all the checks you need.
you know. So so I've never been that person who really just you know thrives to be in the spotlight. I mean, like Nelson said, I was never in the music business. I was always in the business of music, and that's two different businesses.
But you know what? But what's crazy is you never jumped in the spotlight, but people will say or think you're trying to be in the spotlight. How do you deal with the because one thing about music is going to happen is as soon as you start making moves and they're positive, you're going to get people say the craziest stuff, man. I mean, they'll make up stories, they'll tell fabricated stories, and it's always never the exact story.
Listen, I'll give you a perfect example of what you're talking about. I remember a guy. I was just in a room, and we were talking about music, and the guy said, "Yeah, man, I used to be signed to this guy named Tony Mercedes, man. He did me real dirty, man. He screwed me over." He said, "Man, you know that dude, man, because he's not a good guy."
Right.
Just all I could do was laugh at this clown,
And he's talking to you.
and he's talking to me. Um,
He didn't
uh,
know it was you.
I had no clue who I was, but he wanted to kind of posture himself like he was really something special.
Yeah.
And and then if you could have, I don't think in the history of being African American I ever seen a black man turn red, but he turned a shade of purple I had never really seen before. When they said
That-
when I told them who I was, you know.
So
Um,
now, just recently, met a few days ago, I saw where you were given the key to the city in Augusta, Georgia. Karen, did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was just recently given the key to the city of Augusta. I mean, and they actually had a big ass key.
Wow.
it,
Yeah,
it,
In Augusta.
it was
usually I see it as like just a piece of paper, but they literally had a key. I said, "Damn, they gave him an actual key."
yeah.
Now, I don't know if
So
that key can open anything, but I mean, why do you think it took so damn long for that to happen?
Um, you know, that's a question that I've asked myself for a long time because I've gotten proclamations from the city of Atlanta, from Los Angeles. I mean, from big
Yeah,
cities.
yeah,
But I think the hometown is always going to be the last one to acknowledge and or support you. It's something about not feeling just being embraced at home. And it took 30 years before they acknowledged stuff that I've done, and what they don't really realize. What they didn't realize is I would say that 80%, maybe 90% of all music coming out of Augusta, Georgia, that had any real impact had my name on
yeah,
it. And if you look at all the artists that put out records that charted and did decent numbers and people knew about it, they all embellished the Tony Mercedes logo on it, and
hmm
and it's just amazing. I mean, I remember. I have to tell my Flash Gordon story. I always have to tell this story.
It's a good
You know,
one.
you know,
It's a good one.
Lord rest his soul. But so after I did Daisy Dukes, I heard about this record by this guy named 12 Gauge, this Donkey Butt record, and I'm like, oh, and they said Flash got the record, so I called Flash. I said, "Hey man, let me help you out with this record." And he just, so he had this little laugh thing. That he just,
Oh boy.
yeah.
Oh boy.
And he
Oh
said, no.
boy. That's him.
He said, no, I got it. And I was just trying to figure out, now I got to get this record. I mean, like, I just came off a big record, so I need the next record.
Yeah.
I remember calling this white dude I dealt with in Los Angeles named David Mystery. I said, hey, David, do me a favor, man. Call this phone. Make sure you let him know that you're from Los Angeles. Tell him you're interested in this record. And, to make a long story short, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when Mr. Gordon opened up his 12 inches and seeing executive producer Tony Mercedes on his own record.
Oh my
So,
God. Now
So
I
he,
have one
because he
question.
wouldn't let you have it, but then the white brother from California calls and he let that guy have it.
not knowing that the
Then
white
you
boy,
set the guy up.
the white boy was just he was just a front for me. So
Wow.
That's
it,
it.
it was really interesting. And but the record did business. It did really well, and you know we just continue to move that train along, and you know and we were like able to, like I said, continually just put out. I was selling an average of 2 million records every year, and that went on for a very long time. You know,
Mm,
um, I mean, I was like the Cinderella of the story of the year. I mean, because I came out of nowhere, and Daisy Duke stayed on the Billboard charts for 56 consecutive weeks. Well, I
yeah,
remember.
that's a
Um,
long time.
yeah, because 6 months after it was playing in Augusta, we went to New York.
Yeah.
New York wouldn't play the record. They said that the record didn't meet their format.
Mm,
They looked at Southern hip hop at that time as country bumpkin music, and they said, we can't play this.
right.
And I said, okay. So I remember coming up we came up with a game plan to take the record to the advertising department, and we bought some 60-second commercials. And the lady said, well, what do you want on your text copy for your commercial? I said, nothing. Just let the record play for 57 seconds and then
Mm,
say available in store now. Then I called some of my little cousins from Brooklyn. I said, hey, every time y'all hear this record on BLS, this commercial on BLS, call a radio station and say, can you play that Daisy Duke record back? Can you play that Come On Baby record again?
mm-hmm.
Long story short, um, about 2 weeks later, WBLS added a record. A week or two after that, Kiss FM added a record. We sold over 400,000 records in New York.
Yeah.
Wow. Now,
So
Tony, I see that you've been in the business for over 30 years. And as you said, you've met with more no's than yeses. And I know you said that you walk by faith and not by sight. But I also know that you had to meet with some days where it was just hard for you to go. What gave you the motivation to continue regardless of the no's that you got?
Well, listen, I understand in life, ain't no sunshine without a little bit of rain. Every day is not going to be a great day. But
Mm-hmm.
if you look at it from a different perspective, every day that we wake up on the right side of the grass, it's a great day. So I just kept I just kept going. I mean, and I just wouldn't. I refuse to take no for an answer. Even now, I don't take no for an answer. I mean, it's just I do what I need to do to get where I need to go, and I let God handle the rest. I mean, um, I've had 7 records go number one. You can get lucky with one. Hell, you can hit the lottery one time. I mean, but if you can do that repeatedly 7 times, that means you're consistent. That
Yeah.
means that there's a method to this madness. There's a formula, and I kind of understand where I am, and I subscribe to the ideology that I can really do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can, and I'm Teflon Don out of here, and I walk solo. I mean, Nelson knows. I mean, I'm I'm a one-man show and a one-man army, and
yeah.
I've been able to survive out here. Uh, you know, throughout all the different people that create and fabricate these stories, and I hear this about me and that about me, and but what I will tell you is, you know what, being in the business for over 35 years and having never been sued, that tells a story within itself. Because
Yeah.
all my peers, whether it be Dallas Austin, Jermaine Dupri, L.A. Reid, and the list goes on and on. Sean Puffy Combs, they've all been sued. I've never been sued. No one has ever walked up to me and put a gun to my head and threatened me about this, that, and the other, because I've never really done anybody dirty. I hear stories about, yeah, Tony did this and Tony did that, and but I mean, Tony ain't got no security. You can find me anywhere you want to find me. I just I know what I do, and I understand how the streets operate. You do somebody dirty, that means you can't sleep good at night. And I like to sleep good at night. I like to sleep good at night. And Nelson knows I gave a lot of people a lot of opportunities. I fed a lot of families, and here's a Nelson Curry story. So I'll just share it. So I told you that Nelson was a part of the production team when we did the Daisy Duke album. Well, Nelson actually produced the Daisy Duke song. And we did a work for hire. And I said, hey, man, I can afford to pay you $350. So I paid Nelson $350. I didn't owe him another penny, not one dime. It's a work for hire, done deal. But right before I got ready to do a national distribution deal, I called Nelson and Rod, Rod Nicholson at that time, he was still alive. I said, hey, man, Nelson, you guys need to come by my office, because I'm about to do this deal, and I want to let's tear up that work for hire. Let's do a regular production agreement. So if this thing pops off, then y'all get what you're supposed to get. Yeah, and I can honestly say there was, he made a couple $100,000 from that deal. Yeah, that he wasn't supposed to get, because all I owed him was zero, because I paid him $350 on work for hire. That's a true story. So
that's true. 100% true. 100% true.
If that don't speak to somebody's character, I don't know what does.
Yeah, 100% true. And then I took that same gift he gave to me and shared it with the guys that I didn't have to give money to. I said, look, Tony did this, and here's what we're gonna do. And you just can't take all the time. But in this situation, in this game, in this music business, the more powerful you get, it's like the worse people talk about it. It's because somebody has to have somebody to blame for them coming up short. And like I said earlier, Tony didn't write songs. He didn't play music. He didn't do any of that stuff. But he had when I first met Tony, I was in the head of class, man. I told all the guys in the band, I said, man, I met this brother. I said, he got the gift of gab. I said, if they leave a freaking door open that far, I said, I promise you he can get in. I could talk trash. I said, but this nigga talk on a whole nother level. I said, this is a whole other level. Like we was talking about the Jack the Rapper convention. We snuck in the Jack the Rapper convention as well. But when we got in, hell, this nigga was already in there. We came in there. Well, not only was he in, he was going to all the parties. He had got passes and stuff and snuck us into some of the parties. Hey, yeah, y'all, come on. I said, but that kind of go get him thing, you just can't you can't make that. You gotta just have that in you. You gotta, that, like you said, taking that cassette, switching it in the package. I may have thought about doing it, but would I have done it? Probably not. But those are the people who can take something that's a small thing and make it a big thing. And that's just and that's one of the things that anytime I hear somebody tell stories and stuff like that, I've had to correct a lot of people all the time about certain things. They're saying, like, look, first of all, you weren't there and you're telling a lie. So cut it out. But
exactly,
it's one of those things that comes with the territory, whether you want it to or not. But you keep going. And in keeping going, I noticed you got some other artists you're working with. One of them's your daughter. You got this young girl. You brought this little kid show into town in Augusta, Georgia. Nothing but kids. The place was packed filled with kids.
But yeah, but Nelson, you got to understand, like I'm on this kid thing right now only because, you know, as we all know, kids make up 50% of the population,
For sure.
but they make up 100% of the future.
For sure.
Wow.
So, and if that's going to be the case, then let's sow a seed into what they're doing, because,
Mm-hmm.
especially the young ones, because the 15, 16, 17, 18 years, they've already made their decision on how they're going to live their lives.
Right.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, we can still get to them because I'm really concerned about where this country is going. I'm concerned about what's happening within our own race. I'm concerned about the level of disrespect and level of disregard for human life now. That it bothers me.
Yeah.
It bothers me that that these kids are different. I mean, it's really funny. I wrote a letter. It was in cursive, and the kid couldn't even read what I wrote because they don't teach that no more.
Sure don't.
Mm.
And I'm like, wow.
Sure don't.
So and we're allowing social media to raise our children. They have access to too much information, but also bad information.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm concerned. So I just made it my point to say, you know what, I'm gonna invest in these little kids, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen. And
Yeah.
so I created the Dream Fest, which was a kids concert series because I wanted to give parents a healthier alternative for their kids' entertainment needs. As much as I appreciated Drake and I appreciated Nicki Minaj, I still think it's inappropriate for somebody to say "eat my booty like groceries" and she's 8 years old. So what message did we just send her?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Now,
Yeah.
mentioning some of your artists, I had Nelson to send over about 3 of your artist songs.
Okay.
Now, I would like to introduce some of them. Kylie Marshall. Can you tell us a little bit about Kylie?
Kylie is one of these young kids that we're speaking of. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when somebody turned me on to Kylie, and they said go to her YouTube page. She's 12 years old and she's a singer. Okay.
She's only 12?
At that point, she was 12. She just turned 15.
Wow.
She just turned 15. Um, Now, when I went to her YouTube page, uh, she had a whopping 93 views. Not 100, 93. Now, everybody in my position, we're going to keep it moving because we're not even going to listen because they got 93 views. It don't make sense to listen to that. There's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say, man, we ain't going to count the numbers. We're going to make the numbers count. And from that, we've been able to just to build a presence for her. She's on tour with the Nickelodeon girl, that girl Lele. Matter of fact, she'll be in Augusta this Saturday doing the Teen Summit with iHeart Media and their suicide prevention campaign. She's in the movie Athena Save Christmas coming up. She's starring with Cuba Gooding Jr. So we're creating opportunity because I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said it best. He didn't just free the slaves. He said something that was really, really important. He said, the only way to predict your future is to create it. And I live by that, and that's what I do. I stay in creation mode. And, you know, and when people get to hating, it's okay, because Nelson, people that hate on you they don't really hate you. They hate that every time they see you, it reminds them of what their life could be like.
There it is.
They don't hate you.
Exactly.
They don't hate you.
Well, I
There it
have a little bit of Kylie's song, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Can I play a little bit?
Yeah, Kylie, she did a song for suicide prevention called "Before You Decide." It's a true story.
Mm.
It's about one of her friends who sent her a text and said, "I don't want to live anymore." And Kylie went over there with her father, and they were able to keep this girl from doing something crazy. And
Wow.
Kylie did this song. Every time she performs it, she breaks down in tears because she don't. We hear it as just a record. To her, it was a moment, and it was a traumatic moment. So, yeah, go ahead and play it. It's called "Before You."
Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit before you decide because Karen and I just had that conversation today. That's part of what we were going to discuss tonight. Actually, is suicide among young people. So I'm gonna play just a little bit of Kylie Marshall for you all before you decide.
Listen, don't wanna wait, don't wanna find out that I asked too late. You don't have to change, there's no need to worry about what you say. We can stay till it's alright. I'll be here as many nights takes to find a reason why. Before you decide to throw it away, just know that the storm clouds won't always remain. Before you decide you can't find a way, just wait for the sun that comes after the rain. Before you decide, before you decide, listen, I won't say I know, but I promise I'll
Hello?
go.
I tell you, that is very powerful. I had no clue that that song was based upon her saving her best friend's life from committed suicide. When, like I said, Karen and I today had that very conversation because a young man right in my hometown just last week, 20 years old, stuck a gun inside of his mouth and ended his life.
People don't realize that suicide is the leading uh, killer killer of teens between, I want to say, 12 and 17.
That is so true.
You know, people
That
don't understand how many lives that suicide takes, because these kids are mental health is so important. And you know, we live in a society where we don't even communicate. You don't really communicate with kids anymore. It's a text. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that one-on-one that we used to have with our parents, when you know this is going on and that's going on, those days are over with. Just, you know, send me a text, hey, you good, or an emoji, you know, an emoji block, you know,
Yeah.
with a heart. That
Yeah.
doesn't beat it. That don't beat a I love you, son, or I love you.
Yeah.
You know, that don't beat that. You know, I don't
That's
care how many
true.
right.
heart emoji. I don't care how many heart emojis you put on that. It don't beat just hugging your child and saying I love you.
It nothing beats that. Nothing at
Right.
all. And you know, you don't even have to be a teen nowadays. Suicide thoughts run in the mind of so many with the way the world has gotten, because people cannot take the stress of what is going on in the world. Like you say, you have to walk by faith and not by sight. Um, my bestie right here on here right now, Ebony Granger, she's been going through some things. We've been going through some things that it has taken sheer faith for her to get through. And my props to you for highlighting this young lady so that the world can hear her song and know what her song is about. So I thank you alone for her. Now,
No, you
so
know,
I do
we
have
have
other artists. I'm sorry.
I was going to just reiterate on what you said. You know, she has a platform. You know, she calls her music with purpose, with a purpose. Um, um, she got a line in one of her songs that says, "I trade a million likes for just one love," and she's talking about likes on Instagram for just one love, and
Mm.
that's just a deep
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
You know, um,
And it's Kylie. What's Kylie Marshall?
yes, ma'am.
Kylie
Yeah,
Marshall.
Kylie Marshall, young
I
little
like the
girl.
I like the I just like the passion she's able, because a lot of young people singing like that, you can't feel it. But I just like the way she's matching so well, and just the instrumentation. She's
Exactly.
they're locked in. I guess is what I'm trying to say is because she's not singing over it. The music's not overbearing, and she's sounding like she really means what she's singing. And
Oh, you can hear the passion.
you can't get past that, and that's one of the things that I like about it. It just kind of makes you stop and just listen. I mean, really
The
listen
video,
to.
the video drops in the next 3-4 days or next week. And when you see her in the video, you'll notice that she has tears running down her face. We couldn't make that up. Those are real tears because that was real pain. And there's a scene where she's singing on stage in front of 2,000 or 3,000 people, and you can see her. She's crying while she's got the mic in her hand. That's none of that ain't no Hollywood. That's all real.
And you say she's going to be here Saturday?
She'll be at the Teen Summit that is being put on by iHeartRadio.
Okay.
And I think the state of Georgia or something. So yeah, she'll be there with that girl Lele and the Wicker Twins. So yeah, if you make sure you come out and check that out. It starts at 10 a.m. and I think it's over at 2. So it's something that we're trying to give the kids a different perspective and allow kids to talk to kids.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's going to be Augusta, Georgia, or Atlanta, Georgia.
It's going to be in Augusta, Georgia, at the Marriott Hotel.
Okay, Augusta, Georgia.
The Marriott Convention Center, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great to know. Wow. Okay, so
I want to go back a second when you say, because a lot of people don't understand how this thing works. When you say you're responsible or you're connected with the Ed Sheeran song and how you're connected with the TLC No Scrubs song. Yeah, I told somebody that one day, and they were like, he didn't write that song. He did that. And I had to try and break it down to him. So from the man who put it together, tell people what that means. What do you mean when you say, because you got a Grammy for the Ed Sheeran record?
Here's what it means. If Ed Sheeran or TLC wanted to sing that song on television, they have to get my permission. I have to sign a piece of paper saying it's okay. So.
And why is that? Why is that?
Because I own part of the copyright. And when you own part of the copyright, every time you hear the song, every time you hear the record, I get paid. Anytime they use the record in a movie, in a commercial, I get paid. And Ed Sheeran's record was such a big record, and I always laugh and joke, and I always tell people, I ain't got a gay bone in my body. I don't. But if Ed Sheeran knocks on the door, I'm just gonna kiss this white boy. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just gonna straight up. I gotta kiss you because you made many good Christmas.
So what part did you play in Ed Sheeran's song that allows you to get paid from Ed Sheeran's song?
So I walked into a room and I saw Candy and Tiny from Escape. Candy and they were writing No Scrubs, and I stopped and I asked Shakespeare, who the producer was. I said, look, whose record is this? And Candy said, this is something we're doing for a new group we're starting called CAT, K-A-T, Candy and Tiny. And I said, well, here's the deal. That's number one. Y'all still signed to Jermaine Dupri under So Def as Escape, so you can't just decide to start a new group and think that you guys can do that. You can't. I said, but deeper than that, I said, if you trust. I said, you ain't got to trust me. Just trust this process. This record is bigger than a startup group called CAT. I need to play this record for TLC. And Candy said, TLC ain't finna do our damn record. And I said, listen, Candy, let me deal with that. I said, you just trust me. This record changed your life. So I figured, how do I get to TLC? Well, I went to Chili. Chili was the weakest link at that point because all you heard was T-Boz and Left Eye. So I go to Chili. I sat down with Chili in Dallas. I said, listen, Chili, I got this record that I think you could come out and be the front on this record. I said, you're probably, you're a beautiful girl, but you've always played the back, and I got a record that you could lead. So I played
Yeah.
it for them. They like, oh shit, we love it. Then I sat down with Tion, T-Boz, and I sat down with Left Eye. We went to the studio. We made the record happen, and the rest is history. The record, it's to this day, is still one of the biggest records in the history of music. TLC is still the biggest um, selling group in the history of music.
Mm.
And see now,
And
so now
so so
how
so 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 fast forward. So
okay.
20 years later, I get a call from Warner Chappell, who was my uh, publishing administrator. They said there's a guy in the UK named Ed Sheeran that wants to use has to clear TLC because he put out this record and his fans are telling him that they hear TLC in it. So he doesn't want to go to court. He just wants to just settle on a percentage that we can all live with. And I'm like, who the hell is Ed Sheeran? And who is this? And I was like, like, yo, whatever deal, just close the deal. I'm cool with it. I'll sign. Man, if I knew then what I know now, man, it'd been a whole different kind of conversation. But because he used the melody from No Scrubs, uh, he wound up giving us as a unit a certain percentage of the song, and fortunately for us, that song was probably the biggest song of our of I mean, I don't think there was a record bigger than in the last 2 or 3 centuries.
Yeah, that was a huge record.
I
Yeah,
mean,
huge
it just
record.
you hear me talk about selling over 125 million records. Well, you know what? 90 of them came from Ed. You know,
Wow.
you
Yeah.
know,
He's
So,
the bad boy.
oh man, listen, and his shows sell out like it ain't nothing. And he's just been incredible. I've done some things a lot of people don't even know I've done. Like people don't realize that I put Beyonce Knows in the very first movie.
I
You
saw
know,
that movie. Well,
you know.
another people don't know your connection with Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah, I was Tiffany Haddish's manager for 3 years. I hold my head up proudly and say that collectively we were able to make some major moves. And I remember negotiating her deal with Tyler Perry's. I remember negotiating her deal with NBC, and I remember I never forget NBC wanted to give her. I want to say it was like $6,200 an episode, but not give us a guarantee of how many episodes. But it was 6,250 or something like that. So I sat down with the agent, looked at what everybody else was making, and went back to NBC and got a better deal for her. Man, we went from 6,200 to 24,000 an episode with a guarantee of 11, and we were able to really just create some magic. And that girl, I remember when Girls Trip came out, she called me just boo-hooing because she was just so excited that the movie came in #1, and she just wanted to thank me profusely. Like if I call Tiffany Haddish right now, the phone don't ring 3 times before she answers, you know. And we're very good friends. When she makes some mistakes, and I'll call and say, Tiff, you done blah blah blah, and she listens because she knows that I was, you know, I was that guy, but I cared about her, and I still do care about her. She's very close to my wife and I, and my son calls her Auntie Tiffany. So we every time we see her do something pretty great, we're overjoyed. But she came to me, I never forget, and she says, I need to meet with you. She said, I had a meeting with these guys, and Tony, they promised me a Showtime special and this, that, and the other. And I said, Tiff, you remember what I used to always tell you, that I always do what's in the best interest of my client? I said, well, you know what? It's time for you to spread your wings, honey. You got to go, because I can't match what these white boys are doing. And I ain't going to be the one that's going to block you. So, spread your wings and fly. I said, you got to. She cried like a baby, but it was like, she outgrew. Sometimes, you outgrow the nest. And this was a time where the opportunity was just too big, and those white boys didn't want me to have anything to do with it. So they do what they typically do. But this time I was okay with it, because it meant that somebody that I really cared for was going to be able to see some opportunities that I know that I really could not provide.
And that's a stand-up guy right there. You know what I'm saying? And she still hold that respect to you and trust your judgment. So I know she has no problem with coming to you asking advice. That's pretty much the way I do with Nelson. I know that Nelson is not going to lead me wrong. So anytime I am faced with a decision or whatever, I will call Nelson up. And like you say, the phone's going to ring only a few times. If he's on the golf course now, I'm not going to reach him. But as soon as he get off that golf course, he's going to call me back because he know that when I call him, that there is something that, that I need his advice on, or something that I need from him. He never ever disappoint me. Now,
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, we do have a couple of more of his artists that I do not want to overlook because I do want to.
Hey, you know what? Just I think Jarvis Red is the one you should play next.
Jarvis Red, okay.
Yeah. That's,
okay. You want to tell?
That's a bad boy right there. There's no doubt.
Okay. You want to give us a little history on him, or?
Yeah, Jarvis is I met him on Facebook. He was a writer, and he hired him to write songs. And one day he said, "Oh, yeah, I want to do country music." And I'm like, "You want to do what?" He says, "I want to do country music." And I'm like, it's a good old boys game, and last time I checked, they ain't really letting us come in there like that, Jarv. And he started doing some covers. Next thing I know, Tim McGraw came on his page and did a duet with him on TikTok. And next thing you know, that boy had 1.3 million followers, and his engagement was through the roof. I mean, he put up a post and get 6 million views and 50,000 comments or something like it was ridiculous. And he's just, we're working on his new record, but he is just going to change the game. He's going to change the game one song at a time. So,
well, here is Jarvis Red with "Don't Take the Girl."
Johnny's daddy was taking him fishing when he was 8 years old. A little girl came through the front gate holding a fishing pole. His dad looked down and smiled, said, "We can't leave her behind. Son, I know you don't want her to go, but someday you'll change your mind." And Johnny said, "Take Jimmy Johnson, take Tommy Thompson, take my best friend Bo, take anybody that you want, as long as she don't go. Take any boy in love. Daddy, please don't take the girl."
Hey,
All right.
hey, that's one of my best country songs right there, boy. He's singing that thing. God dang.
No,
Yeah,
he decided to go country, and he is of our complexion,
Yeah, he's a brother.
and because I did look him up as I was playing. I looked it up, and I mean, I like country music anyway. Latham Warlick is one of my favorite artists today. But Jarvis, you know what? He has a new fan. I will be listening to Mr. Jarvis from now on.
And one of the best things about Jarvis is he's not trying to sound like a country artist. He's just singing. He's got that country sound, and it does not sound fake. Because I've seen a lot of black guys that are coming on the scene. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna do country," but then they sound fake. They sound like they never did country before. And since it's a popular thing, they want to jump on the popularity part. And that's what kills folks. And not just in country, it's in every other genre of music. Fake will never make it. It has to be something raw, something natural, something that connects. And that dude is connecting big time because if you don't see a picture of him, you'll never know the black guy.
You
You
sure
never
would.
know he's not a country guy. And that's the key thing that guy getting in. And I believe that 100%.
So Tony, is that what you recognized in him? Just the raw talent that he has, or what about him that made you take notice of him?
It was raw talent. It was the reaction to um, the comments that I read,
Mm-hmm.
and just and looking at the faces that were making those comments, and they don't look like us. And
Mm-hmm.
Jarvis is like a big teddy bear. He's not. He doesn't pose a threat. He doesn't look like, he's just a lovable guy.
Yeah.
And then a light went off in my head, and I said, "Wow, I done had the number one R&B record in the country, the number one pop record in the country, and the number one rap record in the country. Don't let me get the number one country record in the country, because then y'all ain't gonna be able to talk to me at that point, because that means I done covered the globe. So that's what I'm aiming for, the number one country record in the country. I think I'm gonna get it with Jarvis Red. So if you've been hating on me, let me give you some more to hate on, because you have to, yeah, that part.
Oh man, yeah, big teddy bear, man. You just made me think of something. You just made
Yeah,
me think of this doggone song called "The Velvet Teddy Bear." I gotta find that
yeah.
song. Man, he might flip that thing right.
He
But
just might. He
yeah,
just might.
but yeah, but you also have your daughter. Your daughter's a singer. She's she's blowing up too. Got
Oh,
incredible style. She got the look. She's got the flair. And right now, you seem to have another camp filled with people who can change the game, and that's the key.
We,
When you
you,
try and
you
find a
know,
new artist now, are you looking for more of the content, or is it the people in the content, or is it game changing, or what are you looking for when you're looking for songs now?
I'm looking for something that that doesn't sound like everything else.
Hmm.
Um, you know, you're, again, we talked about Jarvis. I mean, when you look at him, you don't expect him to sing the way he sings. So he's different. That means he's unique. He's special.
Hmm.
Um, Kylie is a creative little girl. She's a pretty girl. She produces herself. She records herself. She's writing her own songs, and she has a certain swagger about her. And to me, and she stands on an island by herself, because nobody her age is really doing that. So I'm looking at a reincarnation of Aaliyah,
Mm.
possibly. You know,
mm,
when I look at Roxanne Luciano, I mean, the record I sent you is more something that she did back in the day, more of a record with her and Rennie Rucci, and it's more of a southern hip, I guess, a southern female MC kind of record. But I sent her all the way over to Denmark, Sweden, and she did some new records. I can't let you guys hear them because they haven't come out yet. But
Yeah.
her records now, they're game changing, because she sounds like no other female rapper out of the South.
mm.
Okay.
Um, and it's more of some Taylor Swift meets Pharrell kind of records. I mean, those guys
Nice.
in Copenhagen just gave her a whole different sound, and there's nothing sounding like it. So
Okay.
we're super excited about that, and where that's gonna go. So, you know, um, me, it's just, to me, it's like, you know, I always try to stay ahead of the curve, ahead of the pack, because like Nelson said, I don't write, I don't produce, so shit, I can't do what y'all do. So I got to kill you on the business side. I
That's
Hmm.
got to
right.
kill you being able to hear what you don't hear. I got to be able to look at a YouTube page with 93 views and see possibility. You ain't gonna see it.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be able to look at two boys in the military and see possibility. You ain't gonna see it. You know,
But again,
I,
but again,
huh?
there's still there's an importance of what you're doing is investing in somebody else's dream. Because I've seen people talk trash, not just on you. I've seen people talk trash on me. You put money up to try and help somebody move forward, not on your dream, on their dream. But you put the money in because you see the possibility. But
Mm-hmm.
these people believe they believe that what they're doing is so great, but they won't put not one dime of their own money in it. But then if you continue to move forward doing the same thing you've always been doing and you're successful at it, and they just happen to fall off, then all of a sudden you become the evil beast that stopped them from making it. That's a hell of a thing to have to walk around and deal with. And how do you deal with that? I mean, I know you say you keep moving, shaking it off, but as a human being, some of that has to get to you. Either you're going to be pissed off, you're going to be hurt about it a little bit. And how do you overcome that to keep going and keep moving? Because I know it happens.
You know what? It used to bother me until I woke up one day and I take a page out of Deion Sanders' book. Somewhere in that little brain of yours, you really truly believe that I care about what your opinion of me is. I don't. I only care about my opinion of me. Your opinion of me doesn't matter.
That's
you
right.
know, it's just like when I say it, about making major moves. I mean, I'm part of a company called Viewer.com, and we're doing some technology stuff that it's gonna be nuts. It's just gonna be crazy. Also, you ever heard DJ Khaled say they didn't believe in us, but God did?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I saw the T-shirt you had, but God did. That's
Because I'm my partners and we own the trademark on that.
nice. I
So-
figured as much.
So when you see Kylie singing in the video and she got a T-shirt on that says they didn't believe in us, God did, trust me, that ain't by accident. DJ Khaled, can't even sell a T-shirt that has that on there because we own the copyright, we own the trademark for all apparel.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Businessman right there. Businessman right there. Businessman. Okay. Well, now we do have a couple of more. Would you like to address?
Let's play one more. Let's play Roxanne Luciano, because I don't want to turn this into to a showcase. So let's just play Roxanne Luciano's song called "Winning," featuring Big Endo and Rennie Rucci, and we're gonna leave it right there.
Okay, and this is by whom again? You say,
Roxanne Luciano.
Okay, Roxanne Luciano, "Winning Clean." I like this one.
Okay.
About that, I ain't rent shit. Big body, black tint, Arabs out, waist in. Got these niggas blowing back, spending they last, trying to get a piece. Everything he ever wanted, real fantasize about me. Got that body, yachty, keep that money on me. Broke niggas can't do nothing for me, except act like they don't know me. Diamonds all on my neck, diamonds all on my wrist. Told you hoes, I've been that bitch. They know ain't no stopping this, cause I'm a murder on the mic every fucking time. This is like counting all my money while I sip my wine. 20 carats, I'm gon' shine. Said it's me and my prime time. Kiss my air if you don't like what I do, cause it's my life. Hey.
All right. That's what I like. She said she's a boss. I love that now. I love it.
Yeah.
And I didn't see her name on there, but I did hear the song, and I was jamming to that song all day because I like what you're saying behind that song. Now, did you write the song or did she write it? How did that song come about?
She wrote part of it, and a girl named Brittany. What's Brittany's last name? Oh, I forgot her last name. Her and this girl named Brittany wrote the song. So.
But I could tell her flow is different than when I first heard her. Her flow has changed, and she's really. I mean, she's really feeling it now. I mean, she's stepping it up. Each time I hear it, it
Yeah.
gets better and better and better and better.
Yeah, no, she had to step the game up. So, because, competition is getting stiff.
Yeah.
And, if you're too busy trying to blend in, you'll never stand out. So you got to step it up. I mean, and
That's right.
and wait
Yeah,
for your
it
day,
is. Yeah, it is.
You got to be different. You got to be different.
And I hate to keep going back in some of the conversations. Like we're talking about how come it took so long for them to give you this key to the city thing. I've seen other groups in town, people that got keys and proclamations, stuff like that has not done a quarter of the stuff you've done. And I know they say in your hometown, you're this and this, and it never happens in your hometown. But there's a group called Lady Annabella. It's from Augusta, Georgia. It's two of the guys from Augusta, Georgia. They've already built a stadium named stadium after these guys. They got all kinds of stuff named it. Is it something that's going on in Black music communities? Because there's always Black artists and people that I always hear say that. I very rarely hear pop artists, country artists, any of those guys. I never really hear them say stuff like, "Oh, well, they never showed me any love in my hometown." I never hear that. But it's always R&B, rap. It's always a Black artist say that, or a Black producer say that. Why?
I mean, again, I think you throw enough crabs in a pot of boiling water.
Yeah, I know.
They'll pull each other back down. So, I kind of switched my game up, man, and I'm just focusing on things that make sense for me. I don't get really caught up in the political stuff anymore. As much as I appreciate it, the key to the city, and Mayor Johnson was nice enough to acknowledge it and give it to me. But it's not going to change who I am. It's not going to change my perspective on things, and it definitely won't change my status or financial status. It's just something saying, "Hey, man, we see you." And like I said, yeah, you agree. It took 30 years for them to see it, and it is what it is. But I was never one to make sure that was so important to me that I just had to have it. I don't need it, and I can't really take a lot of time to think about why, or think about what took so long. It's because I got too many other things that are just more important than that I have to deal with. More important.
Because people don't know you even have a book. You've written a book. A lot of people don't know a whole lot of the stuff you're doing because you kind of move kind of quiet a lot of times. And if somebody doesn't really know you, they don't really know what moves you're making. Just like with the movie. Now since they're giving you this big key to the city, are you gonna have a premiere for your movie in this town at all?
In Augusta?
Yeah. Are you gonna bring a little Hollywood to Augusta, Georgia?
I may very well do that just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
That might be interesting. Maybe I bring Cuba Gooden down and we just
there you go
light down, and see what happens.
Yeah.
But, it's a kids film, and I'm gonna make it about the kids. I can't make it about me.
Right.
I'm gonna make it about the kids, and hopefully it opens up some opportunities for some other kids, but it also opens up some opportunities for other independent filmmakers that says, "Hey, man, you might not be able to outspin Universal, but you can outcreate them." And I applied that philosophy to music. I'm gonna play that same philosophy to the film game. I can rent the same camera you use. I might not be able to afford Denzel, but there's a Denzel in the making somewhere.
Yeah.
But you can afford Karen D.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Say less. Y'all heard it first. Done deal.
It
You could
is.
afford Karen
Hey,
D.
hey, you don't get it until you ask. What's it that? Closed
Amen.
mouth don't get fed.
That's
That's
right.
what
Closed mouths don't get
that,
fed.
that's what they
Exactly.
say. Listen, in closing for me is, I'll say this to anybody who's listening. There are no unsuccessful people in the music business. It's just those who quit before their time, so don't quit. I used to be a young kid living on Glen Hills Drive, looking out my mama's window with my Sarah Vega speaker in the window saying,
Mm,
one day I'm going to be something.
mm.
And here it is, you know, I'm living my best life. Got a beautiful family. I got a beautiful wife. She'll be with me in Augusta. Uh, and, my children will be there. And it's just, God is still in the blessing business. That much I can tell you. And no matter
Amen.
what accolades you see that I have, I understand exactly where my strengths come from. That man up there, and that's real talk. So you can't take, you can't take from me what he already gave me. So no matter what you say, don't mean nothing, you know, because
Now mentioning your wife, I did like I said, I checked out your profiles. I see that she had a bout with COVID. Prayers that she is doing
oh
better.
no, listen, she's doing great. She's my
Good.
rock. Um, she was in private practice, so she's a psychotherapist, very well educated, very well, I mean, I'm smart, beautiful. Listen, I got lucky. Okay, I got lucky. You know, um,
Yeah, he did.
so
He was blessed.
I was blessed, and Tamara has been just the difference. She's been the difference maker. When I'm at home on Sunday, she's in church, she's praying, and she's keeping. We she's keeping the blessings on us. Because like I said,
All right.
you know, she is a true believer. She and like I said, she keeps the blessings coming because I know. I mean, I'm at home watching football on Sundays. She in church on asking God to continue to keep our family safe and bless us and bless our enemies. I mean, like that's who my wife is. You know.
Well, you're saved through your spouse. You know that. I mean, that is said so in the Bible. You are saved through your own spouse, but you have that belief. God knows your heart. You don't have to be inside of a building for God to know your heart. You know what I'm
There,
saying? But
I
you
do.
are blessed to have such a godly woman beside you. And it shows in everything that you do because God would not be blessing you if you did not have all of that going for you. So again, I thank you for coming on. I thank you for gracing the platform of Karen2Karen. And Nelson, I thank you for getting them on here. Now, I do want you to elaborate on your daughter just a little bit. Let everybody know her name because we
Her
do
name her
want to
name
support.
her name is Roxanne Luciano.
Oh, that was her song.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. So y'all heard it from him. That's Roxanne. So we need to make sure that we go over and we support Roxanne Luciano. So
There you go.
thank you so very much. Now I do have one more question. I know I keep saying that. In the film TV industry, if you are allowed to tell us, I noticed that you grabbed Cuba Gooding Jr. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. To be able to grab such a talent like Cuba Gooding Jr., that says a whole lot about you, about the quality of work that you can produce, because they're not going to just go and work for anyone. And like you say, it take those cameras. I know that from the film that I just did because they had to go and get those cameras. They had to rent them because it's not something that anybody can just go and buy. But they had to go and rent the best cameras so that they could produce the best work that they could. So to have Cuba Gooding Jr., I know that you are a man of high standards and just all of the names that you have named tonight. Not to say any of us are not good enough, but those that you named, they have stayed in the game and it is proven of what they have become. Tiffany Haddish, all of those is proof in what they have become. and they can look at you, Tony Mercedes, and say that you were a part of them getting to where they are. So thank you, Tony. Thank you for coming in. Just thank you so very much.
And
Listen, I appreciate
and let me. I just want to close this thing out too. Is what we've asked is this is an abbreviated version of a person's life that's done a tremendous amount of work. I mean, when I met Tony, it was in the 80s. Like I say, he was the first manager of our band. And what I saw in him then, it only got bigger and better and better and better and better. And we've been friends through this whole thing. Out of all the music journeys of people that fell off here and fell off there, he'll come to town. He'd come to town, see his mom, call me up. We'll go hang out at the club. And he'd always ask me if I take me to the store and give me a knife to cut my wrist. Let me get the hell out of here. Even though love is not, don't get me wrong, he didn't say he didn't love the city, but it's just certain things in this city sometimes kind of is frustrating. But not only he had Pressure, he had Simply Smooth, he had the Daisy Dukes, he had Ben Floyd. I mean, there's been a ton of people in this town that's benefited from a guy. Benefited in music from a guy who plays nothing, from a guy who writes.
Players. Don't forget Southern Players.
Southern Players, yes. I mean, all of these people benefited from a guy who simply had the drive that was stronger than everybody else's. Now, I got strong drive, but I can admit my go-to, Jack the Rapper conventions and all that stuff, we were all there together, but he knew how to take it to another level. But people who are kind of slow in trying to get in this game, if you can't recognize what your lane is not, that's going to get you in trouble. You got to know where you fall short, and you better find somebody that can fill in that spot. And he's always that guy. And because man, I love this dude like a brother. And look, I'm gonna just tell you something recent. He didn't want it to be told or anything like that. But I was looking at this. He had bought I saw him with a Maybach. He was driving a Maybach. Had a Maybach picture, right? I said, "Damn, boy, like that, right?" And so I'm talking about this car that I was then looking at. Have no need for a car. I got too many cars already. So, but it was a toy I was thinking about. He's like, "Man, we only live once, man. You ain't never asked me for nothing, man. I was going through the thing." Yeah. He goes, "Man, go get it." I said, "Man, I ain't in no market for no car right now. I tell you what, whatever you short, I'll come up with." I said, "No, man, I ain't in no market for no car." And when I get over there, he didn't already contacted everything and put up something. I ain't gonna tell his numbers, nothing like that.
Yeah.
So
wow.
The transaction was made. So even though I wanted to give it back to him, he's no, man, I got this. But that's the kind of dude he is. You ain't
that just means when I come into Augusta, I got a car to drive. Don't let it. I got
Tony,
a car to drive.
That's right.
Tony, I do want to introduce you to the other half. She made it in. This is the other Karen right here,
Hey,
Lady
Karen.
KC.
Hi,
Karen,
everybody.
What's up?
Hey, listen. I got about 2% on my. I got about 2% on my battery, so if I get cut off, please forgive me.
But no, man, we appreciate you stopping by, and I think you were able to put some light on a whole lot of information and a whole lot of things that a lot of people may not have known. And one of the most important things, I wanted to get people to know who you were. I didn't want people
one thing we didn't discuss, and Nelson, you were there. You remember me getting a big check, and you remember what I said? I said, "Man, there's no way I can accept this check." And these boys, I know they're not due no money. What did I do?
You called the other half of the company and said, "Look, there's no way I can get this money without making sure we take care of them." So you ended up paying these guys before they were supposed to get paid. And I'm not talking about a little bit of money. I'm talking about those some nice checks.
You
Those
can
some
tell them what it is. You can tell them. I don't care.
man, those nice checks. So
I
I'm
think
telling,
his 2% gave out. I
yeah,
think his
but no,
2% gave out, but that's okay.
but yeah,
Man,
I
that
hope
was phenomenal.
I hope somebody who's watched this thing tonight and listened to this show tonight got something out of it, and was just able to see what I mean. It's a grind in this music thing, and it's
It
always
is.
been a grind. And it's a lot more easier to become popular now because of social media. But back then, no, not so much. It was a down and dirty in the trenches kind of thing. And it's not like there's no grind now, but the grind back then and the stuff that he was doing, some of the stuff I seen Tony do, I would have never done it. Never. But
Karen, Lady KC. Lady
we laugh.
KC.
What's that?
We were talking
Yeah.
about suicide today. You remember we was talking about suicide today?
Yeah.
Well, Tony's artist, Kylie Marshall, the song that she made, Before You Decide, she made that song for her best friend, he said, Nelson.
Yeah.
Her best friend was about to commit suicide, and she made that song for her friend. And we didn't even know that at the time.
Do you think there's something that would make you feel like committing suicide?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that can make me do that.
That's why Karen and I was talking about it today. You know, sometimes I become bare to the people. And there's been, like I said, a lot going on. My friend Ebony Granger, you see right here, we've been going through a lot. There's been a lot going on in my life to where the very minor, it's like it comes in my head, but it go away. But there have been times, and I can say this like recently, where I say, you know what? I can just walk in front of this truck and they ain't got to worry about nothing else. So yeah, I would be lying if I say that I've never had that thought in my head.
I've never had it. I mean, I'm too afraid. I'd be too afraid of attempting it, and it didn't work.
Yeah, that's why, when a person is really gonna do it, they're gonna do it. Like, unfortunately, the young man who I said that he put it in his mouth, he meant for it to happen. He meant for it to
Yeah.
happen. Now, like I say, that's the human side of me. But thank God that I got enough faith in me that I know that that's just Satan putting that moment of thought in my mind. And I know how to pray myself away from it because I got too much to live for. I got too much to do. I know I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, but I know that there are so many other people out there that they will have those thoughts. And, there's help for people with those thoughts. Now, I can't say that I have never, I can't say never. There was a time when, and my friend Ebony can tell you that, I was in a very dark space at one time, and
Mhm.
it was heavy. When I say heavy, I would have rather been dead than to live in the situation that I was living in at that time. But I
Hold
got
that.
out of that
Hold that
situation.
thought, Karen. Hold that thought.
So, Karen, you finally made it in. Bless your heart.
Finally, yes, I did. Little storm, not much, a little bit. I was
I know
able to
you're
come on
tired.
through. Yeah, I am, but it's all right. It is definitely all right. Sounds like you guys have been having an amazing show. Oh my God, Lynn. Oh, pears. You have
Pears.
okay. That's
Pears.
what's
So
up.
I
And they're
put a
gonna be
whole
so
pear
good
in.
when you finish
Yes.
drinking, when you get with it, they're gonna be so good when you start eating on them too. They're gonna be amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Ebony says she's praying for you and your family, Karen.
Tell her thank you, Abby. Thank you so much, sweetie. How are you as well? How are you?
Karen, with this Mercury retrograde in, girl, it was trying to mess with us, but you know what? God prevailed, and we pulled it through.
Sorry about that. I was about to burn something up.
Uh-oh. What you doing? Cooking Nelson this time of the night?
No, burn something up, meaning my bladder.
Oh. Okay. I got you. I got you.
Okay, I'm gonna have to step on that. I'm gonna have to step on that.
Oh, boy.
Oh my goodness. That was too funny. But so we were able to touch on the suicide just like we wanted to. But we must revisit the Ponder Punch question. I refuse to forget the Ponder Punch question for tonight, y'all. And that Ponder Punch question is, if you could have a conversation with any past loved one, who would it be and why do you choose that person? Did you have a chance to ponder on it, Nelson? Audience, have y'all had a chance to ponder on that question? If you could have a conversation with a past loved one, a past person that you know, what would that conversation, why would you choose that person? Why would you choose that person?
Dang, sorry about that. That wasn't the same situation. That was something else. Oh, geez.
So Nelson, you asked the guest co-host, if you could have a conversation with any past loved one, who would it be, and why do you choose that person?
Ooh.
I think it would be my younger brother. I had when I was 25, I had a 15-year-old brother that died in a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And even although he was my brother, younger brother and everything, I was so busy trying to chase music stuff and things like that. I really didn't know him. And so I don't even have pictures with him because I
Wow.
was so busy gone and trying to. My goal in my mind was to make something better so his situation would be better, and I could
Right.
be responsible for that. Yeah, because we were country folks. We didn't have a whole lot of stuff, and I was the older brother, so I was trying to make something a little bit easier for him. That's what I was thinking in my mind. But
Mm-hmm.
but I missed out on a lot of things with him. Like I hear people telling stories about how well he played baseball and stuff like that, and I never went to a game because I was always trying to make something happen and all that kind of crap. Which is so it eliminated a whole lot of time that I could have had with him and things
Mm-hmm.
said, and that's 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 that would be my conversation with him.
Wow. Now, Ebony Granger says she would talk to her stepdad and ask him why he didn't go to the doctor. And I know the situation on that. She just lost him, I think it was earlier this year, and he was sick all along. And B Nitty 009 said it would be my dad for me. His wisdom was priceless. Just lost him last year. My condolences to you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's heavy right there. That's
Yeah.
heavy. Lady KC, did you think about it, or do you want to share? I know it's kind of
Well,
touchy.
it is, and with the situation that's kind of going on right now, you and I discussed that earlier today. So I'm going to choose something else for right now. If I could, I would love for it to be my baby sister Valerie, who was born on Valentine's and was also was promoted to an angel on Valentine's for the Lord. And I would just like to talk with her and just ask her, did she think I did my best?
Right.
You know, with the
Well, for
situation,
me,
trying to
Brian
raise her
Johnson, what's
boys.
up, man? B Nitty
so
is the guy.
it's her kids you're raising. You raised her
Yeah,
kids.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I
her
can
sons.
understand.
How old are
One
they?
of them was grown. One was nothing. When she passed, the youngest was 13 and the oldest was 22.
Mm.
So one of them was grown. Yeah. So he did
Mm.
well. So, but I tried
Mm.
my best. So that's all I can say about that.
Yeah,
But
Well,
yeah,
no,
I
yeah,
know
that,
you as an auntie and as their children granny. I know that she is very proud, and I know that she wouldn't tell you to change a thing because
yeah,
you are doing an awesome job with them.
trying my best, honey. Trying my best.
Well, for
I
me,
haven't
like I
had.
said, you've had what now?
I said I was looking at B Nitty 009. These
Oh,
brothers inspired
oh
me to
yeah,
dream bigger. I've had the honor of working with Nelson a few times.
right.
Thank you. Can't say
that's
enough
Brian,
about him.
little brother named
Awesome.
Brian Johnson. That's a good brother right there. That's a
Brian
Welcome,
good.
Johnson. Thank
Brian.
you.
Now,
That's a
Brian,
good.
don't let this be your last time looking at Karen2Karen. Just
Oh,
because if
absolutely.
Nelson's not on here, don't let it be your last time looking at
Who
Karen
said
and
Nelson
Karen
wasn't going to
because
be here?
on
Who
every
said
other
Nelson wasn't going to
Saturday.
be on here? Who
I
said
know,
Nelson
right?
wasn't going to be on here?
Right. I said just in case Nelson don't be here. Don't let it be your
Nobody
last time.
said about me.
We're not gonna let it be your last time.
We we,
But
we 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 are Nelson is welcome in and every time. And if it's every time he wants, he's welcome
exactly.
Thank
anytime he
you, my
wants.
lady. Thank you, my lady.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
open
love you.
invitation. Open
Yes, we'll have more stuff to do.
invitation.
We have more stuff to do. That's this Southern Soul stuff is going to be coming through Karen2Karen for real.
Hey now,
Mm-hmm.
hey
So
now.
we still got some work to do, Nelson.
Exactly.
Hey, let's
Exactly.
bring it on. Matter of fact, I gotta edit the show tonight.
Sure did, honey. He brought it tonight.
No,
I
I've got
know
to
it.
edit a radio show tonight. I haven't sent my show in to doggone earthquake yet.
Oh,
You need to
okay.
get it in. You need to get
Yeah,
it
I
in. I'll
agree with
be
you on that,
saying,
Brian. Nelson would make a great
yeah,
addition to any show. That is for sure. I do
yes,
agree
he
with
would.
you.
Yes,
I
he
do
well,
would.
agree with you
Yes, he
on
I
would.
that.
certainly appreciate that, sir. Thank you so much.
Well, he should hear your show on Saturdays. He should hear your show on Saturdays.
Nelson has
So
made
if you
that
guys want
known
to catch
tonight.
Nelson Curry, if you want to hear his radio show on Love 1037, just download the G75 app. You can be anywhere. You can be North Carolina, you can be in California, you can be in North Dakota, you can be in anywhere. Just look for the G75 app,
G75. That's what Karen was
the Go
talking about
Tell
earlier.
Group. Yes, the Go Tell Group. You want to download it. It's free. It's free. And guess what? It's free. And then you can
Uh,
get love1037.com. Nelson Curry Sugar Shack Lounge, the Sugar Shack Man, every Saturday at 6 p.m. I promise you, he's bringing it. He is bringing it. He is bringing it. He is so
bring
bringing it. You guys
hey,
download that app. G75 app, Go Tell Group. Look for
yes,
love1037.com. Pop that, just click it. That's it.
What's
yeah.
And of
up,
course, you can get me.
Tanya?
See how
That's
easy
my
that
top.
is.
That's my top.
Really?
But y'all, I must get to my punch question for me. I never did answer, but for me,
Thank you.
because this lady is the most important lady that has ever been in my life. My maternal grandmother, Sally Neal. I would want her back because, first of all, I would want to know if she is proud of me and all of the wisdom that she shared with me. That woman had wisdom that I still remember today. And I would ask her different directions that I need to go. I would ask her everything and anything. I would give anything to have just 1 hour to sit up under an oak tree and talk to her. In fact, I see her in my dreams. Usually I dream about past loved ones and we don't talk. but she and I actually have conversations in my dream. So if I could bring anyone back, it would be my grandmother, Sally Neal.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's take that even further then. Okay, if you could talk to somebody who was not necessarily a relative, not necessarily a loved one, if you could talk to anybody who is gone, somebody that you consider important, who would
Mm-hmm.
who would you want to talk to? Not Jesus, because everybody says Jesus. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Lord.
Let me see. Who would I want to talk to? Prince.
Okay. And what
I
would
want
you
to talk
ask?
to Prince.
What would you want to talk to him about?
Oh my goodness. I would need more than an hour. I would just ask him about all kind of things. What made him want to write the song Somebody? But just all I just ask him all types of things. I just because I just love his music so much.
Mm-hmm.
Prince. That's just kind of like off the top of my head.
It's funny. It's funny. It's funny you say that because I had an opportunity to do that.
Wow.
Did you?
Okay.
I had an opportunity to do that. I did it for about. I did it maybe for about a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this would take place in the middle of the night, usually 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I only told a couple of people that story, and of course, my wife knew it was happening, and because she didn't believe me at first until he admitted it and came around. I knew it was him the whole time, and it would be these long conversations in the middle of the night.
With Prince?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Wow.
It was.
What did you ask him? What did you ask him? What did you
It was the coolest stuff. I mean, we talk about everything from the Bible to extraterrestrials, and it really. I didn't really talk about music that much because I didn't want him to think I was, I was gonna.
yeah. Phil, you talking to him about him.
Yeah, and so
But this
we were just talking about books and uh, metaphysical stuff and protons moving and electromagnetic. I mean, it was crazy. I mean,
Wow.
that dude was as smart as it. I mean, I ain't never talked about it that smart in my life. I used to keep
Wow.
I used to keep a I used to keep a Bible beside the desk whenever he would chime in because he would throw a little verse in from something every now and then. Not to be all religious and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
from time to time I asked me, "Did you read it like that?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." And so then I started reading what he was talking about. But it was just interesting. It was like one of the most interesting times of my life. And like I said, it would always happen. It would be 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning when it was taking place. And we just
So when he first came up, Nelson, did it scare you?
no, well, because I had written a poem after my dad died, and I wrote this poem to myself, and I put
Mm-hmm.
it on Facebook. And in the way I write songs, I learned to write and structure my songs from listening to Prince stuff. It was always Prince music that showed me taught me how to structure songs and hooks and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
like, even if you listen to my Southern Soul songs now, the way I have the hooks are like the Minneapolis kind of hook kind of things. And
Right.
and this person wrote back to me in my inbox an answer to this poem I wrote to myself in the same style. And the name he was using, I knew it was a name that Prince used when he wrote songs. And I had like my first Facebook friend, my first guy on Facebook, my first Facebook friend is a guy named Owen Husney. And Owen Husney was his first manager because Owen Huxley used to represent some of my music when I was 16 and was trying to get it signed to somebody.
Right.
He was trying to get me signed to a publishing deal with a company called Almo Irving. And it never transpired, but he would tell me all these great stories and stuff like this about it. it's just I think the universe just puts you in line with certain people for some reason. It's certain,
Yeah.
you know,
That
just
is,
just like just the fact that I'm born May 3rd, same year, same date as James Brown,
mm-hmm.
and then my name is Nelson, and his last name is Nelson, and the
Mm-hmm.
whole music thing is all just this big hodgepodge of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and
Guess that's it.
and I
Man,
thought
I
it was
got chill
good.
bumps when you said that.
Yeah, and I just thought it was and the name Alexander was always like a favorite name of mine, just
Mm,
from from Alexander the Great.
that's my
The,
son's name. I love that name too.
the name Alexander has always been like a favorite name of mine, and
Yeah.
and that was one of the names he wrote songs on it, Alexander Nevermind, and
Wow.
and when that guy chimed in and started talking to me, I was like, could this be? Could this be? I was like, man, he's writing the same thing. And then when he just admitted who it was, he tried to get me to admit it, and I just act like I didn't know. And
Right.
because I didn't want the conversations to stop. and,
Right. Right.
and the conversation stopped after his sister posted something on that page. And he texted me back saying, Alexander's gonna have to disappear for a while. And
Wow.
that was it. And probably about I'd say about 6 months after that, he was dead.
Whoa,
But
man.
I figured he was just talking to me because I mean, I guess who are you gonna talk to? And when if you're that famous, I guess you got to be careful who you're talking to as far as what.
And then you can't let them know who you are.
Yeah, because I didn't care. I mean, I just some of the stuff we were talking about was amazing. I was like, man, and it
Wow.
kind of made me read up on stuff a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that he was in, it's just I don't know. It was just I always think about that, and I think when I'm in conversation with people, it'd be great for people to think or look at you and say, "Wow, that girl's pretty interesting." It's not even about, oh, they look cool or they're cute I'd rather somebody say, man, that person's kind of smart. I'd rather be a person somebody thinking of me like that now,
Mm-hmm.
opposed to, wow, how cute, how cool. No, I'd rather be one of the smartest people in the room. What's that?
Nothing. I'm
Yeah,
talking to
but
somebody else.
I just I don't know. You change it. You change after a while. I guess everybody's supposed to change.
Yeah.
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 Everybody is supposed to change. Yeah, that's called growth.
as, as like Brian always say, Brian always say, I'm making history somewhere.
Yeah, I put that up there. He said Nelson is too modest. He's always somewhere making history. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nelson be making that history now. I have to agree with you on that.
Oh man, that's the guy crazy.
He
But
be making that history.
it's just you never know where you never know where that journey is going to take you. You just got to be ready for it. That's like when Tony's talking about all the stuff he did and all the stuff he's doing. It's not it's not by chance. It's just you're putting yourself in the right place and you're prepared for when it happens.
Exactly.
And if it doesn't happen exactly the way you want it to happen, you gotta be ready to pivot and move in another direction to get to that. I mean, I can leave out of this room, and my objective is to go out of that front door. But if I'm getting blocked this way, I got to be ready to be able to turn around and go around another way to get out of that door.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people miss it at. If they get blocked 1 minute, it's like, oh, I ain't gonna do it, or then they're blaming whoever blocked them. You're spending all this time talking about who blocked you when you could have gone around the other way, and still get to the door. So
right.
Hey,
Wow. Hey, LaCara Clint, LaCara Kim, LaCara not Kim. See, I call her my Kim, but I finally got the name right. LaCara not Kim.
Karen.
That is
Yeah.
Karen's daughter. Hey, Ladybug, it's so good to see you on here this week.
Is that her real name?
Yeah, that's her real name. Yeah, like Karen, not Kim. Now Kim is her
Wow.
middle name. Her first name is like Kara. Her middle name is not Kim.
Okay, what does that mean?
Oh, oh, it means that'll be something that that will be a next topic. That'll be a topic. Yeah, it's the tonight is a sensitive subject tonight. But yeah, we'll touch
Okay.
on what does names mean, and we would definitely go back and revisit my
All
daughter's
right.
name. But
Okay.
tonight is
Sounds good.
Karen, she's the one.
So
Huh?
what did y'all
Well,
do for?
she basically has a combination of her dad and her mom's name.
Yeah, that's what I asked. Is she the one just lost
Yeah.
her dad?
Yes.
My deepest condolences to you, sweetheart. She just lost her father a few days ago, Nelson.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. My deepest condolences to you.
So yes.
Wow.
So then her middle name has a whole totally different meaning. So, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
So,
That's good. It means it means something. You know, usually when somebody has a name like that, it's like it's either gonna mean if it doesn't mean something, it's like weird to do. It's like, oh, I got this name, Bartholomew Baba, and then it don't mean anything. It's like, why you get somebody a name like that? It doesn't mean anything, or you don't even know what it means.
Now, what you're going to do now, you're going to go back now and look at both of our names and find out what it means, and then we're going to put together what the meaning of her name is.
Yeah, well, I asked my mom. I said, why did you name me Nelson, and what does Nelson mean? And she's like, oh, I don't know.
So now you're going to have to go and search Nelson and find out what Nelson's mean.
Well, I searched the name Nelson, the meaning of the name Nelson, and it means the son of Nell.
The son of Nell?
The son of Nell. And
wow. That's pretty. The son of Nell.
Of nails.
Yeah. And I am not the son of Nell. My mother's name is Elizabeth and my father's name is Booker T.
So you ain't the son of Nell.
Son of Nell. So now I'm on search. I'm trying to find out who is this Nell dude. Anybody find his name Nell?
Well, you know what? This day and time, most people they are with the name of Karen and Karen. Because of our names, we are attacked by so many people. You know, just last week, in a comment, I was attacked because of my name. They was like, well, here comes a Karen. Now, Nelson know, and Ebony know, and Karen know. I could go off on them.
Yeah, but when they call it,
I would not stoop to that level.
But the negative Karen is never a black woman. The Karen is symbolic of a white woman trying to get you out of somewhere. It's never associated with a black.
They don't care now. They don't care if you're black or white. They gonna if you're a Karen. I don't ain't so many people to tell. Oh, your name is Karen. I said, yeah, and what about it? You know, but yeah, I mean, and Nelson, you would be surprised at the amount of people. Now, it don't bother me, you know, what people think of my name, but you would be surprised at the amount of Karens that it is really mentally affecting them. We are in this group, Karens United, and it is really affecting them that people are attacking our names. You've had people to change their names. I mean, I'm not going that far, but you have had people to change their name. What he said when I first saw the name,
That's what I'm talking about,
I
Brian.
thought it would be too
That's what I'm
outrageous.
talking about. Yeah.
Oh my God, Brian!
When he first saw the
No,
name
you
of the show, he
didn't.
thought it was going to be too obnoxious white ladies.
Ah, I got to find out who this Brian is, Nelson. You
That's
gonna
what,
have to point him out to me.
hey, that's why I say you can't.
Look,
That's why I
he
say
said two.
you can't really be a Karen unless
Well,
y'all
I am
start.
proud to be a Karen, and I
And
know Lady KC is proud to be a Karen, which is why she wanted when she brought this idea up to me. She won't allow me to say what I want to say, but that's what brought us together was because of the name of Karen. That's what brought us together because it's basically pretty rare to see Black women named Karen. You know, you see it a little bit more now, but when I asked my mama why she named me Karen, she say, "Well, I didn't name you. A white nurse named you." So that's how I got my
damn.
name. Oh, she said, and it is Karen. I said, "Yes, ma'am." So I just shut up and take it. And like I said, I'm proud to be a Karen Bryan, a Black Karen that is not obnoxious. Well,
He thought
y'all,
it was too black.
Karen, I did the opening prayer. Would you like to close us out? Of course, we would like to remind everyone it's okay to be selfish in protecting your mental state, meaning anything that causes you to go into a state of messing with your mental, get away from it because it is not worth you. It is not worth taking you down. So anything that is attacking your mental health, if it's something that you can't change, you can't worry about it. You can only pray about it.
Absolutely.
But good night, Tata, Latanya. That's my little friend, Latanya Jeffries, Tata Whitelow. Good night, a little bit. So, Karen, would you like to close us out with a prayer? And I thank you all for joining us who have joined. And please hit the like. Y'all, you haven't hit the like button. I don't see but one like on here.
Like, subscribe, and share.
And there are
Please
so
like,
many people
subscribe,
who I
and share.
notice that watches us. You know, I have to borrow one of Tony's thing. You know, people will hate on you because they see something in you that they don't see in themselves. So we have a lot of views, but for whatever reason, we don't have the people in the comment. But that's okay. We love y'all
Well,
anyway for the
they go
views.
back and look at it. Yeah, they go back and look at it.
Uh
All right,
huh.
ladies and gentlemen, it is 11:02 for the night. We have
Ah,
once
yeah.
again gone over 2 hours. Are we going to be doing a 2 hour show?
We wasn't planning to, but hey.
Well, once again, we'd like to
All
thank
right.
each and everybody that came out tonight. Mr. Nelson Curry, thank you so much. We just love having you. We just love having you. It's always open. Anytime you want to come, if it's every time, we're not going to be mad with you. Uh, and thank you so much. We're so honored to
I
have you with
appreciate it.
us. I really
And
appreciate
I
it.
do
Thank
want
you
to
so
do
much.
one more update. Because as I said, Ebony Granger, and she's probably off by now, but Ebony Granger, she is forever a part of this show. And we have been following her breast cancer journey. Um, she has had her drain taken out. She is healing. We continue to ask for prayers for Ebony. Also, a friend of ours, Tammy, her son was hit by a car crossing the road to her house last week, only 18 years of age. On my
Damn.
Facebook page, I shared the GoFundMe because this lady has been through so much, so much. but she only have $2,000 more to go to meet the goal. So I'm asking all, go to my Facebook page. I made a live today. And please try to give towards the GoFundMe. I gave my last today. I didn't even care. I had just a little bit, but for Tammy, she was worth it. So, Tammy, prayers for her. Ebony, continued prayers for you, my sister.
Excuse me.
Well, that's basically the prayer for the evening.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you all for
Amen.
joining us. And we thank you, Heavenly Father, for another episode, for our 5th episode. We thank you for Mr. Nelson Curry. We thank you for Mr. Tony Mercedes. We definitely thank you for our girl, Miss Karen D. Niels. We thank you, each and every one of you that came in to tap in with us tonight. And I know I missed the majority of the show, but I know it was bombed, so I got to go back and look over it again. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Good night.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone. Thanks for joining.